Welcome in, Green Jeans. What are you? Welcome in, welcome in. How we doing? How we doing? If I can hit the right button. 13 months. That's a wonderful thing. Absolutely wonderful. Oh, I don't really need those. So how we doing today? Hope everybody's doing good. Everybody's doing fine. Having a good day, I hope. But today I didn't really have like a solid lazy day. Good. I didn't really have a solid topic to talk about tonight. But I think I wanted to start off with is just it really kind of surprises me how much we cheapen personal relationships anymore. And I don't know if you guys understand what I mean, but You know, we treat online friends like real life friends, but most online friends, we don't even really know where they live, or even what. Well, good. I think that's a good thing. I mean, one, if you have to dye your food to make it, to make it look edible, one, either people have a problematic mindset with what food is supposed to look like. Like, most people don't realize the red meat isn't truly red. It's more brown. Like, real meat, once it's been bled out, once it's been butchered, it's more brown than red. And in fact, the redder the meat, the more likely I am not to touch it. Your food dye. You know, I mean, why do we need brightly colored foods? Well, to encourage people to eat them. What's the brightest colored foods you can think of? Cereal, candy. People really don't need that. I mean, cereal is filled with as much sugar as candy. You might as well be giving your kids or eating a bowl of M&Ms in the morning with milk rather than, actual like Captain Crunch or whatever, or Fruity Pebbles. Sure, it's good for a treat every once in a while, but you might as well be eating dessert for breakfast. I mean, and I'm not saying, like, go with the boring, just cornflakes for me, please. No, but I mean, there's better foods to start the day with. Well, and that's kind of the other problem, isn't it? Kids are kind of dwindling. Yeah, like cornflakes with strawberries. Throw some blueberries. Slice up some, bananas on it, like I used to do as a kid. I mean, I'm sorry, but we used to have fresh fruit, and you like, between me and my sister, we take a whole banana and slice it up. Why you gotta go the Taco Bell route, Green Jeans? Bran flakes with prunes? That's just called system flush. Like, my God, man. Like, that ain't gonna work. You hate your lower half sometimes? Obviously, if you're gonna punish it like that. Might as well just use the toilet brush. Make sure it's all clean. But I mean, like, what? Birth rates are down. Gee, I wonder why. Birth rates go up when families feel secure and when they have money, when they can actually feel they can provide, so people have more kids because the birth rates go up. I wonder why birth rates are going down. People don't feel secure in their jobs. I mean, or even whether or not their college education is going to get them anywhere. I mean, how many people have I known that did college education and do not work in the field that they have the education in? A lot. I mean, but one, we also overvalue college education. Like, okay, if you have two applicants for a Walmart shift supervisor, do you go with the college educated or high school educated, got good grades but just never went any beyond? Or do you go with somebody with a master's? Well, they're going to go with the one with the master's. Well, it's not even all about experience, XO. It's about the illusion of, it's like, oh, well, that college student went on and, they saw through the bachelor's program and the master's program. So obviously they're going to be better at the job because, they stuck out this on a pattern. Not necessarily. In fact, that person probably is only taking the job while they wait for their degree to actually be something. Well, and that's true. They tell you you're overqualified. Like, they will use whatever trick in the book to not hire somebody that they don't want to hire. I'm talking about, like, if they're actually looking for a hire, they don't care. I mean, they will sit there and look at one hand on the other. Oh, let's do it this way. Let's do that. You know, it's just one of those things that it blows me away how people think about these things. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many times I've been told I'm overqualified or underqualified, or, well, I'm firing you because I know you'll land on your feet, but not that deadbeat over there that's not doing his job. Like, why are we not? Why? Why am I the one that's let go? Well, I can tell you, because I'm a challenge. Because I challenge what they believe. I'm a big guy, and I can do my job. I'm not big and dumb. I'm not easily controlled. Sorry, that's just not me. You want somebody else? Go with somebody else. That is your choice. Absolutely your choice. But don't come complaining back to me when your stuff starts falling apart because you hired or fired the wrong person. You know, and I think this goes back to, you know, kind of what I started with was friends. We have cheapened interpersonal relationships. We call somebody a friend. Like, we used to have gradations. Oh, I know that guy. Oh, he's an acquaintance. Oh, now he's a friend. Like, we treat coworkers like they're close friends. But a lot of people don't even go out and party with their coworkers. Or just have a barbecue with their coworkers. Like, sure, a coworker can become a friend, and a coworker can be a friend, but there's steps in between. And I think it has to do with interpersonal bonding. People don't understand interpersonal bonding anymore. And I'm even talking like girlfriends, boyfriends, friends, acquaintances. Like, they don't understand the gradations of intrapersonal bonding. I mean, the very fact that we can bond with streamers and have parasocial relationships tell us that we don't really understand what true friendship really is. Like, I mean, most of you guys, we've bonded over different conversations. We've had discussions. I don't want to say arguments, but there's been things that we don't necessarily agree on. And yet you're still here, and that's okay. It's okay to not agree. Is my camera glitching out every once in a while, or is it just me? Yeah, right there. Is it doing it on stream though? Like, it'll pause. Yeah, see, there's a little hitch. Huh. That's interesting. Not sure what's going on with that. I mean, it's not a big deal. I just noticed that, like, the camera will pause. I'm just watching this, like, little pause and then move. No, didn't do it all in that time. Whatever. But and I'm not trying to say that online friends can't become real friends. You know, that's not what I mean, but there has to be a time served, for lack of a better term. You know, you can't just, like, within 2 weeks, you know, when you don't even know the person's real name. How can you bond with a person when you don't even know their real name? Not even your real address. I mean, sure, you know, you might have that old gamer tag buddy from Xbox Live that you used to play Halo with, that you check in with every once in a while. That's not friends. That's a gamer tag buddy that you guys play Halo together with. You're not friends. Now, over time, you talk and you build a relationship. Maybe you have a guild or whatever they call it in Halo. I never got into that. I don't know if you actually have, like, a group or whatever. But, you know, over time, sure, you start bonding. You know, but that bond takes time. And anymore, I think people bond way too quickly. They care about people way too quickly. They don't understand what friend really means. You know, let alone best friend. Where I'm from, there's no such thing as multiple best friends. There's always going to be a friend that you care more about than the rest. And there's nothing wrong with that. You just bond at a higher level. You know, there are people that you can bond with at various different levels, and that's okay. You know, and I was watching, I don't remember who I was watching, but they were talking about Ludwig. And Ludwig said something that actually made sense to me. If you're not familiar, Ludwig's a streamer. He's fairly popular. I barely know who he is. But apparently he's like Twitch royalty because his girl is Twitch royalty. She's the one that holds the streamer awards. I don't really care. What I do care about is what he said. Is that all these people that you see me stream with, it's not like I'm going to go to their funeral if they die. They're not my friends. They're coworkers. You know, and that is a healthy place to put your brain. You know, it's what he does with these people over here is content. They're coworkers. They're helping each other. They're climbing the ladder together. Then he has friends over here that are true friends. Now, there might be overlap. That streamer buddies are actually real friends. But there's a big difference. You know, and that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't understand is that I'm not saying that you can't have a friendship with a streamer that talks to you, or like I do with you guys, you know, talking with you and doing stuff. That can build into a friendship. We're willing to do things for you, willing to do, you know, whatever. But there's gradations. And a lot of people have lost the idea of gradations. You know, I mean, there's people that find somebody online. Yeah, see? They're just coworkers. They can't get content out of somebody that wrecked their bike. Or if they could, it would be too ghoulish. You know, and I mean, just think about how many of these streamers well, take a look at Distractable, Mark, Bob, and Wade. I know that podcast is three friends talking and goofing. Sure, there's some things they've set up ahead of time that they're going to do, but people watch it because of their dynamic, because they're funny together, because they have this bond that predated any of their careers in streaming. They're hilarious. And there's a reason why they're hilarious. Because they have a good bond. They're good friends. Whereas you'll watch, you know, and I know I'm going to be talking about some people's, you know, but then you watch Creepcast with Wendigoon and Meat Canyon. Regardless of how you feel about those guys together, or apart, together they're kind of flat. And it's obviously constructed. They were placed together through a talent agency. You know, because remember, they tried to do it with Wendigoon, they tried to do it with Mr. Gigi. They tried this in several positions to push these people together. Yeah, something wrong there. You know, you have to have organic. Well, it's like Mr. Beast, KSI, and Logan. Those guys aren't friends. They don't hang out together. You can tell that even in the advertisements that are supposed to be cherry-picked. They're supposed to be friends. Really? Like, they seem pretty shallow. What do you mean I'm not streaming on YouTube? Did you go to Neon Boss? Or did you go to the Neon Room? Because on the Neon Room, it says I'm streaming. I'm there. Oh. How do I do this? I didn't realize Coffee didn't know that I had other. Oh. There we go. Give me a second. No. I'm streaming. I separated it because I'm trying to keep gaming separate from just the chat and drawing. You know, that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's like, no, I'm streaming. I mean, you see the chat bar. I only have 3. And 1 is basically just for me. I mean, I release the music for everybody, but that's like my gaming music. It's stuff I use for others, you know, that I enjoy the music, so I write it. I'm doing good. Yeah, I didn't want Coffee to miss it either. I thought Coffee knew about Neon Room. Yeah, how am I doing? I'm doing good. Gaming music when I'm gaming with my buddies. Tabletop gaming. You know, but I'm not just talking about influencer friends. I'm talking about friends and, you know, friends even, you know, people have. You know, that's what I mean is that we bond sometimes just randomly. And we don't realize Coffee also, because you hadn't logged in for so long, it may not have been just hacked. It may have been they just deactivated it. And you know why I don't focus on YouTube as much, Coffee? Is because, how do I put this? YouTube has become so money focused that I can't get any traction over there. I would have to go open an X account, an Instagram account, and all of this stuff just to multi-advertise my channel. And I think that would bring in a lot more people that I don't want. Yeah, 5 years, they may have just automatically closed it. You might just have to either contact them to reactivate or just open a new account by now, unless you have some stuff you don't want to lose on it. But YouTube is... no, I don't want to say it's money hungry. It's hard to grow. It's really hard to grow. Until you do grow, and then it suddenly explodes. You know, that's the difference. And I don't know how big I ever want to even get. You know, if I ever hit 50K like Raven did, you know, 50K people, I'd be flabbergasted. But also, you know, the reality is that it's not truly, well, maybe for Raven it is. I don't know his numbers. I'm just saying that most creators... Well, okay, I mean, I don't see what's so wrong with Twitch compared to any other platform. I mean... I also don't go randomly looking on Twitch. I know who I'm looking for. Which, I mean, Twitch has a whole nother problem with discoverability and all of that. Like, these platforms aren't designed for you to find somebody that you would like. They're designed for the algorithm to push you to people that the platform wants you to watch. I mean, look at what YouTube was doing here recently with just demonetizing people through an AI checker. What they really should do is have AI flag channels and have a real person check it before they're completely demonetized, especially long-standing channels. You know, that's the thing that pisses me off. Like, sure, if it's a fairly brand new channel, you know, automatically demonetized. Oh, wait, because they're not monetized, because they're fairly brand new. But yet they let acres of AI slop channels just shit out content, get millions of views, and YouTube has to pay for those. That's the thing that I don't understand is that you think they'd look at the ones that are getting huge amounts of viewership in a short amount of time. I mean, to be honest, I think Twitch actually is the better platform for consistency. As weird as that might sound. Twitch has its favorites that they definitely don't apply the TOS properly to, but at least Twitch has banned the most egregious people permanently. They just can't come back. And I think that's saying something, where YouTube has let the same people keep coming back over and over again. Like, I think we were just talking not that long ago that Onision was back, I think. Am I thinking of the right person? Either way, I'm just saying that for consistency, nay. Okay, stop. What? Yes, what? What did I do, Green Jeans? Hold up. What's up? Well, and that, if it's a personal thing, that's fine. I'm just saying when it comes down to moral issues. Oh, Onision? Was I wrong about that person? I know somebody said that somebody came back and I was surprised. See, I just also don't keep up. Stubbornness thing. Okay. I don't think anybody liked him. I don't think it went over well, but YouTube let him come back. I mean, I think there's even some creators, I can't even mention their name on this platform, that they let back. You know, and I've thought about multi-streaming to other platforms, you know, like Kick or Rumble, but I don't want the crowd that would bring, the type of person that would bring, or that could just drop in. Even though that's a huge, you know, risk I'm taking with both Twitch and YouTube, I don't think that the most egregious kind of people that I wouldn't want. But then again, you know, I also would hate the fact to learn that I'm growing super exponentially, because I know what that takes now. I know what kind of content people really, you know, that explodes, that goes viral. Brain rot. You know, I mean, things you just don't take seriously, things that just don't matter. You know, candy for the mind. You know, and it's just rotting your teeth, well, your brain. You know, and the actual creators that put thought and effort into what they're doing are the ones that YouTube is kind of pushing out. And it doesn't make sense to me. And to me, this isn't just a AI slop versus, you know, real creators, because there's so many real creators that are garbage. I mean, go back to, what was her face? Sniper Wolf. Sniper Wolf. You know, I mean, garbage content, complete brain rot. 90% of your React content. It's why you don't see me pull up something on screen and react to it, because I thought about content like that. Because yeah, when I watch something, I think about, you know, what I would say about it. But it feels dirty to me to go do that. To use somebody else's content to make my content. That's really what it makes me feel like. You know, reacting to something is okay, but I'd rather just tell you how I feel about something. Because I don't even really like React content. I don't watch a whole lot of reactors. I guess technically I do, because I watch Pegasus, who's reacting to what's going on with certain people. But the fact is that he puts a lot of effort. Oh, Onision. And welcome in, Infinite. See, and there is a cure for most of this. Stop using it. If you disagree with the content, stop using it. If you know it takes a lot of your time, stop using it. Right, and if I remember right, somebody was telling me that he tried to make a comeback on YouTube and it didn't work. Now, I could be wrong, I could be remembering wrong, maybe it was somebody else. But I was just mentioning that, you know, at least Twitch, when they permaban somebody, like actually permaban somebody, they really permaban somebody. YouTube, you can get away with it because they have so many people and they don't really check. You know, because I mean, MAC address bans don't work anymore. People just buy a new machine. Buy a new router, buy a new machine, and just go back. But see, and that's the thing is that parents need to be parents. Parents need to put their foot down, but they also need to lead by example. Let me be perfectly clear on that. You cannot sit there and tell your kid, don't go on social media while you're scrolling social media. Right? The only thing I don't like about and that's another reason why I don't focus on YouTube versus Twitch, because YouTube is so slow comparatively. I think EXO's still here. Yeah, okay, I thought so. And it's the whole idea that people, how do I put this? People will sit there and tell their kids, I want Disney to sell the Muppets away. They're not using the product, and there is no Disney movie I want the Muppets sullied with. I know you didn't ask me, Green Jeans, but that is my feelings. Because Disney would just ruin it. I mean, look at what they tried to break up Kermit and Miss Piggy and give Kermit another pig. Okay, that's another thing I wanted to talk about. So everybody was riding on Snow White, right? And how, oh, Rachel Zegler, you know, she has brown skin, she can't be Snow White. And I'm like, with one little subtle twist of the myth, it's perfectly fine. Rachel Zegler was a horrible Snow White, not because of her skin color, but because she wasn't pure. You know, oh, Snow White, she's the, you know, has the soul, you know, she has a soul, as pure as undriven snow. I knew what you meant. You know, I mean, I'd love to see the Muppets do a Snow White. I just don't want it done under Disney. As much love as people have, Disney has been trading on nostalgia, on people's good feelings for generations now. I mean, really, well, okay, maybe not generations, decades. The late 90s was the last good Disney movies. Sure, Frozen was decent, but only decent. You know, yeah, sure, it took the world by storm, but that was by comparison. By comparison, there was a whole bunch of stuff that it was good with. I don't know. You know, I mean, and I know I'm old man yelling at clouds. Whatever. I don't care. Those clouds need yelled at. You know, but it's not just Disney. Disney's just the most obvious because they keep throwing everything at the screen. But look at what? 90% of the movies that have come out? And people focus on these things. Yeah, Soul, thank you. Snow White has a soul as pure as undriven snow. Gee, that's why she's called Snow White. Oh. Hilton was the one that talked more, right? Waldorf was just the one that went, yeah, I know. Or was it the other way around? I'm the cranky one that's always talking, not the one that's always agreeing. Oh yeah, Beauty and the Beast as Muppets? That actually would be a fun idea. But see, Greenie, here's the funny part. Even if the Muppets get sold off away from Disney, because they ain't using them, guess what? Any one of the stories you just mentioned, I haven't watched Soul. Is it any good? I've been on a Disney boycott for probably close to 20 years. I'm just being honest. You don't like the Muppets? But yeah, any one of... Okay, I haven't watched it. Hey, what's up, Juice? How you doing? But I'm doing good. We're yapping about generally everything. Not really a fine topic. Right now we're talking about apparently what Muppet movies or what Disney animated movies we want to turn into Muppets. And or because Disney owns Muppets. But the fact is that any one of them, you know, even if Disney, and I don't like Disney. Oh, that would be hilarious. The Beast is the only human actor, and when the curse is lifted, it's Kermit. So Beauty is Miss Piggy. Oh my God, that would be awesome. Oh. See, we need to get Timothy Chalamet to be the Beast. Because that's the most Kermit-like person I can think of. Maybe... Oh, who was the Spider Kid? Tom Holland. And what do you mean you don't like the Muppets, EXO? What do you mean you don't like the Muppets? What? Is it just a general, you don't like them? Or do you have a specific reason? I'm just honestly curious. I grew up on the Muppets. My wife has a general not... Yeah, I saw that, idiots. You want to know? Okay, I'm gonna break a little character here. The more effort you put into the proposal, the more elaborate Gaston, Rolf or Fozzie. The more elaborate you make a proposal, the more unlikely you are to have a lasting marriage. The more adrenaline that is in your proposal, the more why is only half of... Anyway, but okay, take like this guy. They go up to the top of the Empire State Building and he proposes, right? You have already set a huge standard for the rest of your marriage. But also, how likely is she to say no? Like, let's be honest. It's why guys go through the elaborate process of doing it in a restaurant surrounded by people, because she has to say yes. This shows how lack of faith you have in the answer to the question that you have to trap her into a position to be a lordy. To be... I don't know who Elordi is, but... Oh, Jacob Elordi. Never mind. But to trap somebody in a position that they have to say yes, it's like, yeah, she should have her. Like, we all have this idea, like most people do, have this idea of don't see the hype in Jacob Elordi. I don't even know who you're talking about. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Like, if you give me, oh, okay, yeah, right. See, I proposed to my wife. I kept trying to find this beach, and I thought I knew exactly how to get it, and how to get there. And I kept getting lost. So I found a park that was in a Y and a road. I don't even know where we were. I still don't know exactly where I proposed to her. But by park, I mean it was literally the tip of the Y of the road, and there was a park bench with a tree. I proposed to her there. You know, and use the giant Muppet as the beast, so he finally has a solo. Right. Well, it seems to be a family tradition to not be able to find the place you want to find. So my brother kept trying to find, when he was proposing to his wife, he kept trying to find this lighthouse on the Oregon coast. And he thought he made it to the right one because all of the others that he could find were all in fog. Yeah, Sweetums, the big guy. All of them were in fog, all of that. And so he finally finds one that's in the sunlight and all of this, and he gets down on his knees and he proposes to her at the base of the lighthouse. As they're driving away, he finds out that the name of the lighthouse that they were at was the Cape of Disappointment. He proposed to his wife, who he's still married to after 30 years. I think if they're not 30 years, they're really close. And it's at the lighthouse of the Cape of Disappointment. Sam Eagle is Gaston, Fozzie is Belle's dad, Miss Piggy is Belle, Timothy Chalamet is Beast, Kermit is the Beast after the curse is lifted. I agree, Coffee. So, you know, not having proposals go the way you want have a tendency to run in my family poorly. I don't know how my dad did it. My parents never talked about it, so I don't think it was very, might have to ask my mom about that. But they never talk about where they proposed. And that's the thing is that weddings, they're not for you. If you're getting married and you make this super elaborate wedding, oh, it's the happiest day of my life. No, it's not. Guaranteed. The more elaborate you make your wedding, the more stressful and wearing out it will be. I believe that there is a direct proportion or an inverse proportional structure to a marriage. The more pictures you take on the wedding day, the less time that you have being married. Because it's not about well, no, most people say it's my day, it's the most beautiful day, it's all this. It's like, no, it's one of the most stressful days you'll ever have if you make it too elaborate. Weddings are supposed to be beautiful and intimate as well. I mean, shoot, my wife and I never actually planned on getting married on paper. But one day she decided, like, hey, do you mind if we actually get married on paper so I can put you on my insurance? Or I can't remember. It was something business-wise. And I'm like, okay, fine. Within the week, we were down at the courthouse and just signed paperwork. Had 2 witnesses with us. Got married. And you know who the justice of the peace was? His name was Mr. Buzzard. The same judge that got me out of hit and run. Yeah, from like 5 years earlier. It was the same judge. Right? Well, people put way too much stress on it, and if you put so much stress on it, it means that the rest of the time, it's supposed to be this amazing thing. You know, that's the rest of the marriage is supposed to be this, that, and the other thing, and it's like, no, you can just exist. Take every day as it comes. You know, you don't always have to be... Like my wife and I sit here and we play video games next to each other. We're not even playing the same video game. She has her computer, I have mine. We sit here, we play video games, we goof off, we have fun. We share interests, but we also have different interests. You know, I like games that are more detail orientated, that I take my time with and stuff like that. Like if I'm really gonna do it, I sit there. I sit there and I do it. She likes games that are more guided. You know, quest heavy, stuff like that. Action adventure. We have diverse interests and we like dragging the other to things that we want to do. And it's always fun because we're not exactly alike. You know, and I had no idea whether or not she was going to say yes. Sup, Ghost? Thank you for the resub. A 4-month. You missed a month? Ghost. Right, you just drag them, you know, you try different things together. I mean, how else are you gonna... Dude, I get it. Or, I don't know, life happened? Wow. 3/10 of the way to a new subs. Nothing wrong with subbing with Prime. Missed a month, air fry him. But no. I will tell you, I barely ever use the other Prime benefits. Like, hardly ever. I do like the idea. No, make him drink water on a proper schedule. Actually, I think Ghost has been pretty well hydrated. But, I don't know. You know, it's... If I can give anybody any peace of mind on relationships, now that's one he really needs. A good sleeping schedule. But if I can give anybody relationship advice that has worked for me, I don't know how long. If your significant other says something that you think was wrong, that pissed you off, that made you angry. It's like, how could you say that? Like you're mentally, you're frying your brain. Like, oh, how could you say that? Stop a second. Just stop a second. Turn to them and ask them, hey, did you mean it this way? Because that's what I heard. Do you know how many arguments that stops? Do you know how many that stops? Yeah, bro, get a good sleeping schedule. I say at 3:45 in the morning. I'll see myself out. But just stopping, like if somebody says something, just talk to them. Ask them if that's what they meant. There is nothing wrong with that. But it's not just communication. It's literally stopping yourself. What's so hard about communication? Yes. Hell, I think last night I slept for almost 10, which is a record for me. See that glitch right there? Oh no, it didn't do it on that. Okay, so it's just here that it's glitching. All right, I'm good then. This above. It's the Morgan Freeman meme. Well, when the other person refuses to listen, that's fine. There's nothing you can do, but at least you did something. And yeah, when you don't want to talk to them, but I'm talking about, like, if it's friends, screw it. Okay, if you can feel that coffee, go to bed. You're pushing yourself awake. Yeah, Green Jeans was asking what the double arrows pointing up mean. And it's literally just the Morgan Freeman meme of this. At least that's how I see it. Is they're just pointing to the thing above. Besides, coffee, if you don't get good sleep, how is my coffee going to be brewed right in the morning? If coffee is run down, it won't charge me. Coffee, if we sound better in our heads, and how does Morgan Freeman hear himself? We can't handle it. If we heard how Morgan Freeman heard himself, I guarantee you he would rule the world under a new world order, single world government. It might not be bad, but I'd be afraid of who follows it. Oh, see, but coffee, you are asking the important questions. Already? Back to water. Once I finish this, I'll have gone through it twice. That is a gallon of water. That's not counting the cup of coffee I had. Espresso doesn't hydrate. As well. It still hydrates. I mean, yes, caffeine, coffee, it's a diuretic. What are my plans tomorrow? Like what? Would you say coffee at this time? Nothing. Nothing really. Why? I mean, I think I'm going to be doing laundry, if that matters. Because I already mopped the floor today. Your mouth tastes like teeth? Coffee, if you're making observations like that. Oh, okay, just asking what I was doing for the week. Well, I mean, when I wake up in the morning, I'm probably going to do my half hour of exercise. Throw the laundry in either before or after, depends on how awake I am when I wake up. Strip the bed of sheets. Be prepared to wash them. Put new sheets on the bed. Maybe sit down and do some writing, or maybe sit down and write some music. Because I'm not done writing the album for this month. I don't know when it's coming out. Yeah, shoot the gnomes that are trying to steal my socks. Take care of the cat. I don't plan things like that. Oh, cooking a roast tomorrow too, because the wife's coming home early for July 4th. So I'm cooking, I think that's a 4-pound roast with onions and stuff. I'm gonna split it in half and divide it up into meals for her next week. Oh, that's right. Well, I'd help you move it, but you live too far away. And also, he's probably, you know, he might need some help. Ass mister? No, no ass mister here. Sorry, once I came up with that ASMR tag as ass mister, like, nope, I'm not letting that go. Okay, I have a theory for you, by the way. ASMR actually degenerates your ability. No, because they're finding out that they overstated and misunderstood how they were reading microplastics in the body. It's synonymous with fat. The same methodology they use to look at microplastics in the body is the same that comes up with certain kinds of fat, which your brain runs on. Microplastics isn't actually broaching the barrier, or if it is, it's not as much as we think, or our body is actually flushing it. But yeah, I think ASMR actually helps degenerate the brain because you're giving yourself too much stimulation. That's what ASMR is doing. It's stimulating the brain. It's the same thing that fidget spinners do. The more you sit here and fidget, the more you sit there and do stuff, the more likely you are to be distracting your brain from...
Yes, we did, Mr. Ghost. We had so much ASMR.
I'm sorry, I'm terrible at that. I'd be glad I took my allergies, or else that'd be a whistle. Oh my God. Coffee, we won't get into that. But do you like chocolate? All right, I'm gonna go take a quick fiber. I'll be back. Yeah, make sure that you get the audio clips of you sniffing into your phone and just send them to Ghost. His address is... No, I'm joking. I won't do that. All right, guys. I'll be back in 5. Had to clear the nose for the good sniff. Quality of sleep is only improved with ASMR. Well, I think that might be more, you have to ask yourself, why do you need ASMR? Why do you have to specifically stimulate portions of your brain? You might have ADHD, which that helps soothe, if I remember correctly. So, makes sense. Or, you forgot how to be bored. Like so many of us in this day and age, we have forgot, like a cold, dark room. Yeah. Like we forgot how to be bored. You know, you want some good ASMR? Like if you really want to stimulate certain portions of your brain, go into your bathroom if you have a bathtub. Don't put any water in the bathtub. Lay down in the bathtub. Put a blanket over the top of you. You know, like over the top of the tub, if you can. And just listen to yourself breathe in the dark room. This, while not being a perfect, like sensory deprivation chamber, you're actually removing a whole lot of stimulus. So it'll actually activate your brain to where it needs to find things to do. It's why sensory deprivation chambers work. People haven't exercised certain portions of their brain. Yes, I know the feeling, Coffee, and I absolutely love it. Hey, XO, do not release the details of my depression routine to get me out of depression. I mean, with the shower head on, nobody can see me cry, okay? And I'm a manly man. I can't cry on people can't see me cry. Actually, it does. Like, there are days where that's just something that is so much fun. Your brain is constantly firing off. It never stops. Coffee, I totally understand. That's why I draw. That's why I do all of these other things. I mean, well, like you said, I have so many channels. Yeah, why do you think I have so many channels? Like, I love playing video games, but I also love writing. I love thinking up things to talk about. I love writing music and, you know, yes, I have AI perform it. I don't have a band to perform my music for me. You know, I do all of these things because my mind's constantly going off. And if I don't keep these creative outlets going, I get mentally constipated. I don't know how else to put it, but like the brain just kind of shuts down. Shower concerts are amazing. Exactly. Well, yeah, I mean, and that's fine too. I mean, if that's what you need to do. See, and I'm not saying that as a blanket statement, nobody needs to use ASMR. I think just like with everything else, there's like 1 to 10% of the population that actually needs this. But do I think it's the amount of people that they say have ADHD? No, I think people just need to learn to sit and remember how to be bored. I think people need to give themselves schedules and remember how to stick to them. To focus, don't let the electronics always do your work for you. You have to think about it. Use your brain. My brain wants constant exercise. Okay, I don't want you thinking I'm like saying that, like, oh no, you don't need that stuff. No, some people do. I'm not. I mean, unless I'm talking about blankets, I don't make blanket statements. I'm just trying to make a statement that covers as much as possible, but also understanding that there is percentages of people that absolutely have to have these things. But I think that too many people use them way too often. I think too many people, fidget spinners were probably my biggest complaint. Watching these people who constantly couldn't stop moving. Infinite. If you need a weighted blanket, you haven't had enough hugs. That's all that means. Get more hugs. Coffee, go get some sleep. And I know you're probably just going to say, no, I'm going to stay up for another half hour just because you told me. Tough shit. I'm Irish. Well, I have Irish genetics, so I know the feeling. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate having you. But, I mean, and don't get me wrong. I mean, weighted blankets, again, you know, that's something. Well, Ghost, I guarantee you would get one hell of a big ass hug from me. I'd probably pick you up right off your feet, sweep you off your feet and give you a big old hug. It's like, shoot, dude, you have friends. What, don't you and your friends hug? Don't you guys just have, like, the close conversations? Coffee says good night, everyone, and that Coffee loves her wife. I'm sure we all needed to know that because we have all forgotten how much. That's not what I mean. Like, no, it's not about kissing your homies goodnight. Oh my God. You have a weighted blanket? I thought that was called cinnamon bun. You know, the very reason why you couldn't make your tea earlier. I don't know. You know, I don't understand the reticence at physical contact. That's sad, XO, or not XO, Coffee. That's sad. And XO, you don't have to be sorry. But I am serious. You know, it's like, I mean, hell, in the Old West, cowboy buddies used to hold hands. And this causes people this weird friction in their brain because then we got Brokeback Mountain. Like, displays of affection change over time. Yes. I mean, in Roman times, it was common to kiss your buddy goodnight. But humans need physical contact. Well, you're Irish, Coffee. You wouldn't be Irish without crippling depression and anxiety. That's why they drink. Remember, I did say I was genetically Irish. But, one, it was a good joke, XO. But I also, you know, was pointing to the seriousness of, you know, pointing back. Well, yeah, exactly. You know, I mean, me and my buddies, you know, I mean, it might sound weird. I mean, especially since we're all like, you know, trench coat mafia mofos, you know, but like when you sit down and you have a good heart-to-heart conversation, you know, you give your buddy a hug. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't know why people think. Have a good night, Coffee. See, I told you would resist for a little while before you actually went to sleep. And all because I told you to. Well, no, you can't say that, Infinite. Because I guarantee you, if it's somebody that you don't feel comfortable with, getting a clingy hug from them is creepy. I mean, like, no. No hug. There are people I didn't want hugs from. Well, yeah, I get it. But, right. Meow. Meow. You want to pet this? Oh, well, fine. You knew I was going to pick you up. Sweet babies. Well, no, and I understand the situation. But, I mean, to me, you know, it's like humans get starved for physical touch, physical affection. Why do you think the internet has become the loneliest generation? Yeah. I've had friends that died on me suddenly for various reasons. You're damn Skippy, I see my kids, I give them hugs. And it really depends on the bond I have with my buddy. Depends on whether or not I give them a hug. But I've hugged total strangers because they needed it. Hell, me and a buddy danced together in a Sherry's, which is a West Coast diner. Late at night, we were the only ones in there because the servers and the manager had a bad night. So me and him danced singing I Feel Pretty. I feel pretty, oh so pretty. And literally made the staff roll on the floor laughing because they needed it. Two big guys swinging and dancing because they needed it. I don't understand sometimes how the generations behind me have lost the idea of what it really means to be physically affectionate without being physically intimate. You don't have to have one to have the other. Hell, the good forearm handshake and pull them in for a one-armed hug. There's nothing wrong with that. I just don't get it. I don't understand why people they make it sound so weird, and it's because we don't have physical affection like we used to. We don't. I know that sounds weird. You guys hear me say physical affection, and I guarantee most of you are thinking intimate sexual kind of encounter. There's some kind of, no, it's not what I mean at all. Why do you think you guys make such crass jokes? Why do you think a lot of the humor centers around a sexual quantity? Because it's what's occupying your brain because you don't get the physical affection. That's really what it comes down to. You're not getting the physical affection, so you don't know how to respond. And I hate to tell you guys that, but it's where you guys are. Just handshakes have gone way down. It's fist bump. No, I get it. A good fist bump, yeah. You and your buddy at an arcade. Well, okay, arcades don't really exist anymore. Playing video games. It's all right, we did good. Bro fist. Stuff like that. Or a fist bump is what I do with somebody that I play video games with. That, is an acquaintance. That's not something I really do with my friends. And I think a lot of problems that people have with relationships is because they don't get physical intimacy. They think the honeymoon period lasts forever. That, if you find the right person, that it's always going to be passionate and it's always going to be like it was the first time. And it's you don't want that. That's obsession. That really brings up a lot of feelings and stuff that you can't control. Being comfortable with your partner is super important. Where you guys can just sit in silence together. You don't have to do anything. I can't tell you how many times my wife and I have just sat on the couch and didn't turn on anything. Didn't talk. Just sat there next to each other. Yeah, comfy silence, and not thinking anything, just feeling. Just, I call it, just being. Or, to quote the Big Lebowski, abiding. You're just abiding. I think a lot of modern times is that people worry that if they stop, they'll miss something. And I think that's really sad. Because by not stopping, you're missing something. It's like the old saying, stop and smell the roses. God, I wish I had that old. No, give me a second. That's not the right one. Oh my God. Let's see, is this the right stuff? Oh, hey. There's me at one of my classes for Merchant Marines. My certificate of winning. What that's doing in the writing notebook, I don't know. Oh, okay, this is not the one I wanted, but I was hoping I had the essay I wrote in college about there are no perfect places, there are only perfect moments. You know, whether you're sitting there on a bench and it starts to rain and you can see the little puffs. Oh, those are friends, those are classmates. That was part of the certificate of completion. Those are just other classmates. Those weren't even my friends. But, you know, I did this essay for college because we were supposed to, you know, like, oh, picture your perfect place. And I broke the rules because I didn't have a perfect place. And I preface that because I've moved around so much. I don't even have a home state. I have a state I was born in, but I've lived in Nevada, I've lived in Washington, I lived in Montana, California, Oregon, now Texas, at least. I know there was more there. I've been to Boston, but I haven't lived in Boston. Or it was Baltimore. I got them confused. It was one of the places where we had ships. But Boston, Baltimore, those, like, really understanding how close together those cities are on the East Coast baffles my brain. But the true thing is that it doesn't matter where you are. It's how you treat the moment. You know, people like, oh, you ruined the moment. Didn't have to. You know, you have to remember to remember. Thank you, Ghost. And I guess you're welcome. Thank you again, Ghost. You've given 15 subs to the channel now? 16. Really, bro? I appreciate that. I really, really do. I wish I could, you know... That's what it says. They've given 16 gift subs in the channel. Yeah, it's like super... Jeez, Ghost. How many was that? Five subs. So total of 21. Wait, was Greenie there too? Oh, Greenie. I missed that one. What are you guys battling now? Holy crap. I really appreciate it. I honestly do. I honestly don't know what to say because I really do appreciate that. See, it's stuff like that. That's what blows me away. What does it say? You've done 3 in total. I think Greenie. Hoo-ah! I don't know what to say. Honestly, it's stuff like that that makes me really happy. Am I violating my own rules? How many did I do? I did not violate my own rules. Beard oil ain't gonna buy itself. Yeah, actually, I do need more. Oh. Well, I guess it was kind of my, my affiliate anniversary. Jade, you just missed the train of... Yeah, anyway. Welcome in, Jade. How are you? But back to my point. I mean, see, like this blows me away. I mean, because I'm not used to people doing for me. And I think that's more of like a me problem. I'm so used to doing things for others. And when I can't, I don't expect people to do much for me. There's not much I can do. And it's hard. It's hard to see, all these people that I want to do things for that I can't. But someday I really do hope that I can. I know when I can, I do things. Like, I don't know how much. I'm not here to toot my own horn. I'm just saying that, I really do appreciate it, and I like to do something. You're just making it? Yeah. You have a suggestion for horror movie night? Well, lots of hugs from me, Jade. I totally understand. And I'm sure if you had news, you would have told me. So I know there's not much reason to, ask. It's also why I don't really bug you about it. You know me, I'm not going to be sitting there doing too much. But yeah, you guys just set a new record on my channel for a hype train. Call tomorrow and we'll update? Okay. Hey, I'm not complaining. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I plan on, whatever. Either way. Oh, 1984. Green Jeans? 1984 was not the fear of the Cold War. 1984 was the fear of propaganda that was only shown by the Cold War. I mean, the very fact that 1984 was, oh, that's iconic. Okay. I was trying to figure out. That's what I got for just being here. Youngsters. But 1984 isn't the, like I said, 1984 isn't a fear of the Cold War. It was a fear of the propaganda that came about from World War II, Cold War. Oh, you even got the... We did it. Thanks for all the support, guys. I got 10 new subs tonight because of you guys. Oh, you got Gimme Dat? I like that one. There's plenty of things I can think of using on that. I just got the iconic. But, well, yeah, but I need to have money to get the limited emotes. You know, one of these times I'm going to have enough money to, you know, drop, you know, change on people's channels so I can pay back all the support I've been getting. That's a cute one. The Tato bat. But how do I put this? Yeah, right. The fear of propaganda is very real, and we're living it. How do you think politics and how do you think fandoms, how do you think any kind of interaction got the way it is today? You know, I mean, one, propaganda is so much more effective in the electronic world. Like, my God, it's so hard to explain how effective it is. I mean, the moment you start talking about certain subjects, people's brains just turn off. They stop recording. You can say how much you want, but they just stop recording. They stop listening. Or they might even just sit there and talk. But as soon as they walk away, it's gone. Because the very fact that Donald Trump is president should tell you everything about propaganda. Everything about the political system we have today. But that's okay. The fact that Biden, Obama, Bush, pick a president, that tells you how effective propaganda is. Because you don't have any idea who these people are before they're elected or what they're going to do. You don't. But yet you choose one because somehow their message spoke to you, or the message of the other one didn't speak enough to you. And you're like, well, I didn't really like that person, so I'm switching over to this person, or I'm going with this person. And... Oh, Reagan definitely counts. He's actually... Reagan is the reason we got Trump. Flat out. Even though he was probably hands down one of the worst presidents we ever had. He is hands down responsible for the crashes of the 80s. That everybody had a lot of money, but no, we didn't. The 80s people didn't have money. They had technically more money than they have now. And that's the thing, another thing that people really need to understand about propaganda is that you have more stuff, but you don't have more money. I mean, to really put it in perspective, what was it that I saw that when adjusted for inflation, an original Nintendo Entertainment Center, which came out for like $100 where I was on sale, would be almost $3,000 now by today's money. So in my lifetime, money has lost value by that much. Gaming's been a luxury since the beginning. And people are just now understanding how much it actually costs because they've been subsidizing it. Most of your consoles barely ever make a profit, if they make a profit at all. It's the games that make the money. And now, what is it? Sony, Xbox are taking away physical copies. There's not even going to be disk drives in the consoles. So they're computers. And people sitting here bitching about the price of the Steam machine when it's the same thing as basically every other console. Only the Steam machine, you have more control over. So the propaganda here is that people are shitting on the Steam machine and saying Xbox and PlayStation is better. But I can upgrade the Steam machine. I can take that thing apart and I can upgrade it. I can put whatever I want on the Steam machine. I can flash it and I can put Windows on it for some god-awful reason. But I can do it if I want to. You can't really do that with a PlayStation or Xbox without having hefty computer knowledge. On a Steam machine, you can just do it. Because it's more computer than console. It just has a console form factor. Like, I also don't think people really understand how impressive that little machine is at the price point. It's like, oh, well, you can build your own computer for, that price. Yeah, sure, if you can find the parts. But, if you can buy the parts. I saw this other thing through Gamers Nexus, how a new video card, which is years out, by the way, at least, 2030, will be the earliest it can come out. But somebody's making an upgradable video card. You heard me right. The video card itself is upgradable. Instead of using a normal GPU, they're using a CPU. Don't worry that it doesn't have to make sense, but understand that it does. They're using laptop memory on the video card, so you can just pull it and exchange it. It's also pre-built with the ability to chain two of them together. Like, there's so much advancement in that video card that I applaud these guys. And it's going to be 10 years before they actually have a product to market. They took the long road. People don't realize how important that is. I legit just won't buy NVIDIA because of the way that they deal with the market. I'm not saying anybody else shouldn't. This is just something for me. I've known NVIDIA from way back, when NVIDIA used to lie about how fast their speeds were. When they put multipliers in their cards so that they benchmark better, but they weren't actually better. They were fake. And now that's standard. Now that's upscaling. You're literally just faking. Your graphics card isn't better. You put some software in there to make it think it's better. You're not actually getting better performance. You're just seeing better performance. I don't know how, effectively, yes, it's the same thing, but they're doing it in such a way that it feels like a lie. That's propaganda. NVIDIA has said for years that they're better. Intel for years has said they're better. And take it from somebody that builds his own machines. That better is maybe 1%. That's it. When stacked up to your actual playing, you won't notice the difference. Or if you do, it's not that big of a deal. It's really not. I can make a pure AMD machine from top to bottom and have pretty much the exact same functionality as a whatever NVIDIA machine you want to make. Only I don't have the problems with the driver failures. I don't have a problem with, occasionally things blowing up and burning. I don't have a problem with a whole lot of other things that people with NVIDIA machines have to worry about. I'm just saying. I've never had a problem with my Radeon cards. Are they as bright and flashy and all that as an NVIDIA? No. But I don't need that. I need something that's going to work. It's like people that go out and buy a sports car. What's the average speed on a highway? Where can you open that thing up and actually use a sports car? Why buy the Lamborghini? Why buy, these hot, fast cars when you can't really use them? That's a lesson I learned with my Dodge Duster when I was 18. My dreams. But what are you going to do with it? Like, what are you going to do with that car? that a regular sedan, Europe, the Autobahn, okay, yeah, sure. So why not just ride a roller coaster? At least a roller coaster has a lot more safety features and you're not going to get in a wreck. You know, I mean, and remember, the average color of a Bugatti Veyron is road pizza. Because the average person breaks it. Get in accidents because we don't know how to handle these cars. I've had fast cars and I think they're dumb. Like once I really understood what I was doing, it's like, what's the point? You shouldn't. You know, I mean, and remember the Bugatti Veyron, like here's the things people don't think about. Yeah, but Jade, how often did you actually get to use it? Now, if you're buying like a convertible car, sports car and stuff like that, that to enjoy it, you don't have to drive fast. You're not buying, like I wanted to be honest, there was a 69 Camaro that I almost bought and I probably would have kept forever. I won't get into the sob story of why I couldn't buy it. I had the money, but yeah, parents. Anyway. Yeah, T-top open, late nights, back roads. But how fast were you taking it? Like really? The fastest I've ever had a car was 143. I only know that because that's what the cop told me. So, like, it's not about going fast. It's about enjoying it. Okay, Jade, 90 plus. Sure, I've gone well over 90. The fastest I've been in a car, I wasn't driving. The fastest I've been in a car was 150 something. The only reason why it was 150 something is that the car started lifting up and floating and you could feel it. Yeah, we decided to slow down. Because one gust of wind and we would have died. There was plenty of custom things that I would do. Well, Jade, when it was a 74 Dodge Charger, aerodynamics weren't really into it. You know. Well, yeah. Well, because it's fun. It gives you the roller coaster feeling, and that's what I realized is that I'm driving that fast. But it's the same thrill I get out of a roller coaster. Might as well just go to a roller coaster. I mean, you look on the statistics. How many roller coaster accidents are there versus how many car accidents are there? Sure, roller coasters have accidents. Not nearly as many by a long shot as cars. And especially when you couple that with, I mean, think about some of the old fairs we used to go to, Jade. You know, when you know that that guy's a carny because he doesn't want his warrants catching up to him. Do you really think he made sure to tighten every bolt on that roller coaster? Probably not. But we survived it anyway. And trust me, I had a few good friends that became carnies to keep the warrants from catching up with them. Merry-go-rounds. Oh my God. The very fact that they removed merry-go-rounds from parks blows me away. For the wind. You know, I mean, the very fact that we survived all this stuff and now everybody tells you to be afraid. That is largely, I think, what the 20-somethings right now don't understand. Is that they're afraid. But their level of fear is so normal that they don't realize they're afraid. Like, I remember when, I first started streaming and you guys were like, well, how do I keep doing these things? How do I just decide to go into streaming? Or how do I just decide to go into shipping or being a bodyguard or whatever else I've done? Well, because I wanted to try it. Figure out if I could get the job. Why wouldn't I? What's stopping me? Me. And yes, I'm built different than most people my age too. I did a lot more than most people my age. But I also didn't have a cushy, job to see me through most of it. And tunnel of love, but random sitting. But it's because I'm not afraid to go try things. And I think it also has a lot to do with my specific generation, where we were young enough or old enough to remember when the world wasn't so connected, but we were also young enough to adapt to the new technology, but also knew that we could leave it behind for a weekend. I mean, I wish I could help you guys to understand how amazing my childhood was. No matter how dangerous it was. I mean, I rode my bike alongside trains because it was the fastest way to get to school. Not school, get to town. When me and my buddies were going to the movies or going to the arcade, I took walks. 3, 4, 5 mile walks just because. Go out and explore the desert, or go out and into the forest and explore it. Just keep going until you stop. Then turn around and go back. They've caged up so much of the wildlands now. At least where I was in Washington, you couldn't just go walk into the forest anymore. They caged it all up. You weren't supposed to go. No trespassing. You had to find the special places where you could go. In Nevada, I think that still, there's still good places. The Velocicoaster, I think is what you were trying to say. Okay. For a minute, I was thinking it was Spanish, and then I saw coaster, and I'm like, wait, no. What is it, like Velociraptor coaster? Or was there? But anyway, I mean, it's one of the things I think that 20-somethings don't really have, and that's experience. And I don't mean experience in a job. I mean experience depending on themselves. Experience just going out by yourself. Experience not being on a phone. Experience with being bored, sitting out in a forest. Better insurance. Well, okay, yeah, better insurance, yeah, probably. Although, I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't really have that good of insurance. Trust me. And we didn't have a whole lot of programs to forgive medical issues. Like, it's funny that somehow medicine got worse with Obamacare rather than better. Like, somehow it got worse. Well, yeah, I mean, well, what I mean is that when you're supposed to have this universal health care, at least a certain level of it, it somehow still got worse. And it makes me think that maybe I shouldn't say that the government needs to control these things. And that maybe corporations really can do something about it. But me personally, I think the government really needs to put some hard-coded caps to what you can price things, whether it's housing, whether it's the goods, the services, caps on what you can do. Because our market's not very competitive. See, I can't stop talking about stuff like this, and I know it's not your guys' favorite, so it's just like, well, yeah, the government has a lot of loopholes, and we need actual leadership that's willing to close those loopholes. Because I agree that there's a lot of fraud going on both sides. On both sides. Both sides are doing it. It's not just in Minnesota. It's in Texas. I mean, it's in every construction site my wife's ever worked at. It's in so many other things. It's in every job I've ever had. There's corruption. There's fraud. Like, I'm sorry, it's like, yeah, sure, certain people went out, I can't remember their names, but found it in certain places. Yeah, but they also weren't going in their own backyard and finding it, which is what they really should have done. Go where you live and find it there. Fix it there. Fix your neighborhood. Do that. If you have the will and the want to go do it, fix your home first. Don't go to somebody else's state and start picking on them. When you go back and look at your state and are turning a blind eye. That's what pisses me off. Is that you have all these people screaming and crying about, oh, Democrat fraud. Okay, well, what about the Republican fraud? What about our president that put out 2 cryptocurrencies right before his presidency? What about that? What about all the pardons that have been given to crypto, crimes, to the criminals, and now they're sitting there saying, oh, what about all of this? And it's like, how about we just get a dose of truth? How about we get an understanding that the whole system's corrupt? Well, unless it's a leftist president, and then it's don't do the crime unless it's the left crime. I mean, you don't think that this all happened just under Trump? No, this happened under Biden. This happened under Trump. This happened under Obama. This happened under Bush. This happened under, Reagan. This happened all the way back. But once Obama and, Bill Clinton and ahead, you really saw the rot creep in. Funnily enough, Nixon was probably the least corrupt of our presidents, which is why they caught him at Watergate. You really think Nixon was that bad? I mean, to be honest, the worst thing he ever did was open trade relations with China. Right, what did he do? See, the missing minutes of tape, we don't even know what was on it. Nobody does. But because of that, they impeached him and he left and he resigned. Bill Clinton lied on the stand to the American people under oath. And everybody's like, oh yeah, it's fine. He's a handsome guy. Well, Ford kind of had to, didn't he? I mean, Nixon was just his boss. But it doesn't matter if Nixon was pardoned or not. Oh, I'm sure he was ugly. But does that make him an ineffective president? Why are we judging politicians by appearance? JFK was a shitty president that did shitty things. And yet he beat Nixon. Oh, Clinton? Yeah, Clinton's ugly too. I mean, also keep in mind that during his deposition here recently with some certain files, the guy was laughing and smiling at the photos, and people don't understand how brain broken that old man was. I mean, you sit there and watch him at the deposition as they're showing him photos of the victims, and he's all like he was going down memory lane. Well, Jade, I'm too young to care about Nixon, but I also wanted to learn history. No, you're fine. I'm just saying that we really have a problem. Honestly, I'd like to learn more about Andrew Jackson, not just what was written. Because I don't know enough. I know he was kind of an asshole and he was a jerk and nobody really liked him. But he was probably also one of the toughest SOBs. And he wasn't afraid of much. I mean, literally what? They did a duel and he let the dude shoot him just so he could take a straight shot? Kind of underhanded. Because he knew he'd lose to the guy if he didn't do it that way. But he straight gut shot the dude too, which, on the other hand, yeah, come on, dude. War of 1812, yeah. But, I mean, look at everything. Like, we have to understand history. And we have to understand history so that we can see what's happening now. What's happening now is probably closest to... So Obama would have been our JFK. Trump would have been our Nixon. Like, let's be honest, that's pretty close. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're a bad president or that Trump's is corrupt. Well, let's be honest, Trump's corrupt. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. He's corrupt. But the truth is that he's no more corrupt than any other president. Does that give him an excuse? No. But we should hold ourselves accountable. That the political system got here because we let it get here. The American people let it get here because we let really Obama divide us. Obama was the first division. There's good evidence that we don't even understand how he even got elected. Oh, wait. Yeah, there is. Cambridge Analytica. Citizens United decision. That's what got Obama elected. Money. Good night, Jade. Like, look it up. There was no presidential election that was as expensive as the Obama election. And ever since then, they just keep getting more expensive. Goose night. Johnson? What? What point did I say Johnson? I don't think I said Johnson. I said Cambridge Analytica and Citizens United decisions. Those two decisions, or those two things, destroyed our... okay. Those two things destroyed our elections. We have no election integrity now. Because we now have a way to extremely target political advertising to individuals, not to a group. And we now have no cap on the amount of money that can be spent on an election. There used to be a cap. Now there isn't. So the president and whatever other elections go to the highest bidder. That's really what it is. It's the highest bidder. It doesn't matter, and I hate to say it, but we need, I really hate to say this, but we need some way to actually track who votes, who doesn't. I know it's a Republican talking point, but voter ID probably is more important than it ever has been. If you can vote without proving who you are, you can vote multiple times. I'm not even talking about illegals voting or whatnot. That's not what I'm talking about. Please understand, I'm not trying to do a Republican talking point. I'm doing a point where I can take my ID, I can vote. I can turn around, get a, what was it in California, a gym membership in a different name, and turn around and vote. That's a fraudulent vote. You know, they also, you know, we need to have more integrity even in the smallest of elections. So being able to show some form of concrete identification is what is needed to vote. I mean, the very fact that it takes more to... I'm trying to think here. It takes more ID to open up an old school rental agreement. Like as in, not agreement, but a rental account at a video store that I used to work at, than it does to vote in an election. There's something wrong with that. I know that's not something that a lot of people want to hear. I'm sorry, but I think it's the truth. Do I think the Republican, you know, do I think it's racial related why, you know, voter ID and all that? No, I don't think so. I think we've never had voter ID just simply because it's so much easier for both sides to fake and fraud. I mean, come on, we've known that election fraud has been happening for generations, and we've done nothing about it. This isn't a left and right side. This is just a simple common sense. Find some way to guarantee the vote. Guarantee that you're getting the right information. Oh yeah, there's not been any election fraud. Have you looked for it? Oh, well, statistically, you know, so you didn't look for it. You're just saying statistically. Because that's what I hear every stinking time when they talk about election fraud, is they will use the qualifier, statistically only about 1 to 2% of voter fraud is voter fraud. Look back at the last election, Trump versus Kamala. How many votes would have been 1 to 2% of the United States population? How many of those swing states, 1 to 2% of the vote, would have changed things? Think about that for a sec. Because, so even if it's only 1 to 2%, that's enough to sway close elections. And remember, 1 to 2% depends on who the electors get in to be the electors, the ones that actually choose the presidency. You know, they're the ones that appoint the electors. The 1 to 2% in the governor's race or a local race. You guys gonna stick around for talking more, or do you guys need to go? Oh, that sucks. You guys gonna stick around for another hour, or do I shut it down for the night? Oh, I just want to take a quick break, run my ad. Kind of have to use the restroom. I don't know if that's regular or French. Hey, as long as one of you is here, I'm talking. Okay, so green jeans, you're sticking? Then I'll be back in 5. That's at least... All right, I'll be back in 5. True. I mean, the ads are annoying. I've really been playing with turning them off, but I don't know how Twitch will react to that. I'm not even sure if I care, to be honest, if Twitch reacts positively or not. That bag, I get about $5 a month. Like, the ads don't really pay enough, to be perfectly honest. I think the only reason why I do it is because I'm not... $5 is $5, yeah, I know. And I also plan them in such a way that I'm going to be away anyway, might as well run the ad. You know, I have it planned for the time I use. But it's not about the bag, and that's the problem. Like, I want people to watch me for me. You know, I want people to watch because they like what I do. They like who I am. You know, I mean, if they don't, okay, don't. Bye. Don't really care. You know, I mean, that might sound like weird, but I don't take it personal. I don't take it personal every time somebody doesn't like me. Like, that's not my problem. I'm me. I don't need to change myself for people to like me. I'm gonna sit down. I said go. If you know what I mean. You know, what's up, Green Jeans? Welcome back. It's hard to explain that I've lived my whole life around people that, you know, that people treat me one way or another because they do. Oh, nice. I like it. It works. I've got 3 of them because they work. I haven't had a problem in the 2 or 3 years I've had it. I love this desk. I love being able to sit and stand. You know, I mean, I'll move it up, I'll move it down, depending on how I want to sit. But getting one for your mom too, nice. My mom lives in a little trailer, so she couldn't fit it. And I mean like a tow behind your truck trailer. That's a long story, and it was a dumb decision. Between the truck she had to buy to get it and the price, you know, the bill from both of those, the truck and the RV, she's more than a house payment. And it's just like, yeah, sure, you know, you're going to be less money. She's going to be paying them off here shortly. But I don't know. To me, it was just a stupid decision that my sister talked her into. That's a different matter altogether. My mom was terrified. She moved away from a place she really liked and has been trying to get back there since. Which I think is actually really sad. She's pretty close there now. I mean, she found an RV park that she can afford near enough that she can see her old friends. And that's good. Hi, baby. Sorry. Little babies wants the pets. And I know she's not gonna let me pick her up. Oh. Yeah, I thought so. Okay. But it's one of those things that I think people need to think more about. Is how much good quality will last you versus buying the cheap thing right now. You know, and that's a hard decision, trust me. Like, if you need shoes now, you need shoes now. It's hard to come up with the money to buy a good pair of shoes, but also a lot of times those good pair of shoes aren't gonna work for you. Come here. Yeah. You know, it's the hard part about what luxury used to mean, which it doesn't mean anymore. Luxury used to mean good quality. how much luxury brands are actually good quality anymore. I can't remember if I was talking here, but you generally need to buy middle of the ground. You don't need luxury, but don't buy the bargain basement. Buy the middle road. You know, you don't need to go buy luxury or super expensive work boots. You know, find yourself some, you know, couple $100 pair of work boots. Yeah, that might sound expensive, but when that couple $100 pair of work boots is going to last you 3-4 years, you're better off. You've saved money. It's also something that you can fire and forget and not worry about. It's just like with my cell phone bill. Yes, I have to buy my phone outright because I use Mint. But I also pay my Mint bill by the year. So I fire off that cell phone bill once a year, and I never have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about it ever again. At least not until next year. And that ends up saving me money. You know, and that's where, you know, because it doesn't just save you money, it lets you plan around that bill. You know, which means it gives you more.
Yes, high face.
Like, what you can do is you can put that money that would go towards that bill and save it. Put it in a savings. You know, instead of spending, you know, $50 a month or whatever you are on your cell phone. I don't know what people are paying anymore, because I pay like $20 a month, I think is what I'm at, because it's like $240 a year. Yeah, it's like $20 a month. I can put that over in savings and it'll accrue a little interest over the year. Yes, why so lovey-dovey now? Huh? So you can eventually make a little bit of money. I mean, like, yeah, you know, most people don't have an interest-bearing savings account. Or if they do, it's so negligible that it's not funny, but a few pennies is a few pennies. You know, buying quality that lasts you a long time is worth more than buying cheap repeatedly. Although, average person right now has to buy cheap repeatedly because they can't afford to kick down the cash all at once. But if you plan around, oh, I don't know, your brain work, tax refund. Where most of these bills come due on your tax refund. These yearly bills that you can do. So when you get your tax refund, you just pay all your bills. Boom, 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 boom. You don't have to worry about them for another year. You know, and I sit there and I do a budget of, I add up all my bills for the month, and I add up all the money, the average of the money I get per month. And I divide each by 4. And that gives me a relatively good idea, and then subtract the two. Subtract the bills from the money coming in. And I do that each week, not each month. I subtract it by 4, so it's one, you know, each week, so that I know how much free money I have per week. What bits I can pay and I can play with. And I always overestimate on the bills, and I always underestimate on the pay. You know, not by a huge amount, but just round your bills up to the nearest dollar and round down your pay to the nearest dollar. So, you know, like you make, you know, $400 a week, or say $425 a week. Well, round it down to say you make $420 a week. That was not meant to be a $420 joke. You know, and your bills equal $350. So round it up to $360. Then you subtract those two, or not a week, a month, or whatever it is. You know, and you get the idea of how much money you have to play with in between. You know, to start, you know, oh, I'm going to need new shoes. So start putting a little bit of, you know, $10, $15 a week in savings, or even 5 towards new shoes. Well, $5 each week is 20 bucks a month. 20 bucks a month is $240 a year. $240 can get you a damn good pair of shoes. That, and you've also had interest on it. I almost said insurance. If it's in savings. If not, if it's just sitting there, you know, and say some dramatic thing happened. Well, now you can pull that money out that you need to spend money on. Yeah, where are you going to get the money for the shoes? Well, it sucks, but you're going to have to start it all over again. Yes. You know, these are habits that are actually pretty smart to get into. Is, you know, I mean, even if it's just rounding up your bills and rounding down your pay. Now, I also know that there were times in my life that holy crap, hi. No, you don't want, you want all this attention, but you don't want me to pick you up. You are so camera shy. You know, but again, you know, you have to work it for yourself. You know, this isn't a solution for everyone. You know, but it's a place to start so that you can start maybe making better choices. You know, I mean, the major thing I would tell everybody, cook at home. Buy good quality groceries and cook at home. Oh, I don't have time for that. Yeah, it's an aim, not a guarantee. That is a good way of putting it. But cook at home. 5 days out of the week at least. If you are going out and grabbing food or having food delivered more than half the week, something's wrong. You know, two or three times a week is fine. Once you're hitting 4, you're expending a whole lot more money than it could be just to go to buy it. I mean, H-E-B has already prepared meals you can go and buy that are going to be better quality than what DoorDash is going to deliver. And if you're going to friggin' get something delivered, go through H-E-B. I'm pretty sure you can get a shopper to go in there, grab the stuff you want, and come out. You know, for those of you that live in Texas and near an H-E-B. Their pre-prepared meals looked pretty good. I haven't tried them yet. But they were reasonably priced, and they were basically set for 2 people. So if you're just a single person, that's 2 meals. Right, chicken and rice. Cook for yourself. I prep generally either Sunday or Monday. I'll prep 4 or 5 meals for the next week. You know, this last week it was like beef and rice. Yeah, it was beef and rice. I had that for 4 meals, but then I also had my, you know, chicken, or not chicken, but fish fillets and salad for 2 meals. Well, that's 6 meals out of the week, and then I had one meal of Whataburger. It's all 7 days. For breakfast, I generally, you know, fry a couple of eggs, and I get, you know, a slab of, like either pork chop or steak. And they, you know, what I get from Butcher Box is this thick pork chop that's about this thick, about that big. It's about a pound a piece. I cut it in half, so I have a half pound of pork chop and eggs for breakfast, and I'll dice up a bunch of onion and bell pepper, and I'll just throw that slab of pork chop in the air fryer, scatter the onion and bell pepper around it, season it. Like this morning I did sriracha, salt, pepper, garlic, and threw it in. You know, mixed it all together, made sure everything got slathered, and threw it in. Air fried that, told me to flip it, I flipped it. When I flipped it, I fried my eggs, put that all on one plate, put the eggs over the top of it, boom, breakfast. You know, I reheat the pre-prepared meals for dinner, and then I'll have something for like a snack. Like tonight, it's going to be, you know, after I get off of here, I'm gonna grab some crackers and I made myself some tuna fish salad. I'm just gonna dip the crackers. When I'm full, put it all back together and put it back in the fridge. Have it for later. Oh, I was actually surprised at how good the Sam's Club stuffed bell peppers are. I'm gonna be honest. They're actually really good. And for breakfast, fry a couple of eggs. I don't eat chips. I eat chips as a special occasion. I don't eat chips very often. To me, that's a junk food. And like, I absolutely love just regular Ruffles chips with, yeah, I was actually really impressed with it. I can't remember what we tried. They had another prepared meal thing. And the stuffed bell peppers far surpassed. Now, they take a long time to cook. I think it's like an hour. But they're worth it. Yeah. No, see, okay, if you take Ruffles potato chips, onion, sour cream and onion mix. I generally make it myself. I just grab sour cream and I grab the Lipton soup mix. And you grab the big tub and you put one of the soup packets in, spin it around. So one or two packets. Sorry, 2 packets in the big one. Stir it around all nice and well. Jeez, I didn't realize you could do that at Costco. I ought to remember that. I mean, they're not going to be as good because I don't have a rotisserie, but put it, you know. What's the size of their chicken? I might be able to fit one of those whole chickens in the air fryer. Dude, I miss having a Costco near. I mean, I was a Costco kid. I grew up on Costco. My parents used to go every other weekend to Reno to go to Costco to buy a bunch of stuff. And Sam's Club is a good second, but it's not Costco. I miss the hot dogs at Costco. Like buying the Costco hot dogs. Oh, best hot dogs I've had in a long time. They're all beef. So good. But see, that's the other thing is that a lot of people don't understand that these membership clubs, the big box ones, the samples, are actually worth it. The club memberships are worth it. And I mean, you could basically eat free on Friday, Saturday, just going into Costco and just sampling. I used to do it all the time. I remember when I went out to, the gas discount is nice. Me and my buddies went out to a movie, and one of us had hypoglycemia. And we got out of the movie because we didn't have enough money to buy any snacks at the movie. We just had enough to go, because we had to take a shuttle from the town we lived in to go all the way to the town that had the movie theater. And we had enough time to, so my friends didn't understand Costco. None of them had Costco membership ever. Like their families just never had one. And I took the friend with me. They had hypoglycemia, so they needed to eat. And it was a Saturday. I grabbed her hand and I said, "Follow me." And we walked, and I kind of timed it. So I was walking in right behind a parent, two people that looked like they'd be old enough to be my parent and her parent. And I just followed them right inside because I didn't have a Costco card. Just followed him right inside, and I took her around to the samples, and we got enough food to get her back on track so she could make it home. You know, that was what was worth it. Green Jeans, are you sending suspicious links again? Well, I'm always good in a crisis. Or at least I have been in the past. Every other time I've been in a crisis, I've managed to keep my head. Like, and that's even around my parents who were in a crisis and they couldn't think. A kid implies you stopped. All right. Fair enough. That Korean version of Tucker and Dale versus Evil was hilarious. But I don't know, you know, it's just one of those things that, you know, when you don't have a choice, you start thinking, you make up choices. And again, that's the thing is that I grew up in an era where you had to solve things yourself. I didn't have a cell phone to call my parents. I didn't have a lifeline to call someone. You had to rely on yourself to get things done. Hell, half the time I find solutions A, B, C, D, E, F, and give you one to pick. Still blocking you. See, Green Jeans? This is what you get. But I don't know, it's the amount of self-reliance that I think a lot of people don't have anymore. I mean, it's a combination of growing up poor, and a combination of the era that I grew up in. You know, we didn't have quick solutions. You always had to figure it out. Well, that worked. It's like, you're a moderator, you can post links in chat. And as long as you guys aren't spamming them, I'm not going to change that. Sorry. But I think that's a lot of things that people are missing nowadays. Is the self-reliance, is I have to think for myself to get this done. And if you don't, you're gonna fail. It's gonna screw up. Which one was this? Oh my God. I always dare. Okay. Intriguing. I'm gonna save that for later. Again, I don't like showcasing somebody else's stuff on mine, you know, on my channel, just because, I don't know, it feels weird to me. You know, it feels like I'm using somebody else to make my content. Like, if I'm not enough by myself, what am I doing? You know, one, why are people watching reactors anyway? Why aren't they watching it themselves? Do you need somebody to tell you how you should feel about something? Do you need somebody to sit there? I mean, it's like the creepy thing, you know, watching old sitcoms and remove the laugh tracks. You realize you were prompted where to laugh. Like, you had to be educated on where the joke was. on when to laugh. And it's scary. It's scary to realize that most of literally almost everything you've ever watched is propaganda. Everything you've ever watched is something re-educating you in something or another. That Hollywood has been doing this, by way of the government, by way of their own, yes, Hollywood, government, and I think people forget that that music was started by the mob. It's not some organic company. It was started by the mob to launder money. That's really what it was. It was the same thing that the art world used to do. That's why these things have an inflated sense of value and worth, because they've almost always traded in high value, so that people don't realize why is entertainment a recession-proof industry? Because it doesn't rely on customers. Think about that for a second. It doesn't rely on customers. Oh, sure, they talk about ticket prices. They talk about this. They talk about that. If you calculate how much money Disney has lost on their movies, why are they still making movies? They've lost so much money. What are they doing? Why are they doubling down on bad movies? Not just making one bad movie. Disney never made a sequel. And if they did, they bombed. Think about it. Aladdin, wonderful movie. Absolutely great. Aladdin 2, what? Aladdin 3, okay, that was slightly better. Yeah, we're not going to do that again. Think about all the sequels to Lion King. Have you ever watched them? Kinda. But not really. Disney never used to do sequels. Yes, hi, babies. Can you lay down and leave me alone? Huh? Don't make me get out the shock collar. That's a joke. Couldn't even put a collar on that one if I wanted. Right. Yeah, there are some that are good sequels. Don't get me wrong, but, and now they're not only doing sequels, they're doing live action variants. And from what I understood, I haven't watched it, so I don't know this for a fact. But somebody was telling me that, the Lilo and Stitch live action remake changed the story. Oh, don't even get me started. Treasure Planet was a damn good movie. Better than it had any right to be. It was a wonderful movie. It deserved so much more love than it got. That was one of the ones I didn't mind that the kids put out, would watch on repeat. I don't know. I don't understand how Hollywood can run like it is right now. Like, they've lost their market. Their biggest market used to be the secondary market, rentals. And they thought for sure that streaming was going to make up for that. Not even close. Not even close. I guarantee you, if Disney started putting out their movies for rent in their Disney stores like they used to have, they'd make money hand over fist. So, okay, they did change it. Okay. Like I said, I didn't watch it. I mean, I like Lilo and Stitch, the animated movie. It was just fine. But I didn't see a point in a live action remake. No laser guns, no epic fight scenes, just feelings. Well, yeah, because it's cheaper on the CGI. You know, and that's the problem, is they're squeezing a dime to lose money. Well, although I did hear that Lilo and Stitch made them quite a bit of money. If I remember right, it made like $1 billion or something like that because people don't care anymore. And that's part of the reason why I think they've dumbed down TV and movies is because people don't care anymore. They'll do 2 or 3 failures so that the mediocre movie they put out later makes $1 billion so they can say, see, we made money. Even though you put out 2 or 3 mediocre movies that people actually would like to go watch at the movie theater, you could make a lot more money. Yeah, tons of people but notice what? They haven't made any money off of any other live action. Moana looks like it's gonna bomb. I mean, The Rock in a muscle suit. Whoever thought you would need to see that? Because those aren't his muscles. That's what's hilarious. They had to put Dwayne the freaking Rock Johnson in a muscle suit so that he looked right. I don't know about the Tangled one. But see, this is what I mean. It's like, why is anybody even giving Disney any love? Like, okay, sure, you may have liked the newer Star Wars or not. But the average person did not. They didn't go and watch them. Tangled on Ice. Okay, look out, babies. Yes, look out. I'll be right back. Ran out of water. But, you know, and I'm picking on Disney, but Disney isn't the only one that's failing miserably. Sony. Well, look at the backlash against Shrek. Why are you doing another one? I mean, you'd think that they would have learned their lesson. People want new content. People want new stories. Morbius was bad enough, but Madam Web? Madam Web was worse. They took some of the best spider side characters and ruined them. I mean, Morbius was bad enough. I mean, well, one, you should have just never had Jared Leto. Jared Leto is box office poison. I saw the trailer and went, well, what is this supposed to be? Because it was a bad movie. And it had Jared Leto. That's all I needed to know. It was a bad movie. You know, again, it's the idea is that they keep thinking they have lessened our filters. So they keep thinking they can put out trash. Ha! Well, Jared Leto's box office poison. Look it up. When was the last profitable movie he did? Oh, wait. Suicide Squad? Which most people in hindsight realize was a bad movie. Like, there's this nostalgia thing for it. It's like, oh yeah, it was pretty decent. Then go back and watch it. I remember when I was a kid, there were movies that we would watch 2 or 3 times in the theater because it was damn good. Master of the Universe 2026, it didn't make money back. It wasn't profitable. That's the problem, Green Jeans, is that it wasn't profitable. At least not enough to make a sequel. I don't think it made back its marketing budget. It may have made back its initial budget, but I don't think it made back its initial budget and marketing budget. Well, and I actually heard it was a good movie. Other than the fact that, they kept making He-Man the butt of the jokes. They couldn't let him be the hero. Because we have to be told that masculine, and I know that this is, I don't know how else to put it. But look, every time you start denigrating, well, Thor: Love and Thunder is a good example. Jane Foster showed up Thor in that movie every stinking time. How well did it do in the box office? And how well did Ragnarok do in the box office? Ragnarok, where we actually get to see Thor cut loose and be the most masculine he's been in the movies. Like, it wasn't just fun. Thor got to be a hero in his own movie. But in Thor: Love and Thunder, it was Jane. And I didn't see it, so I could be wrong. But from what I was told is that Love and Thunder, Jane Foster kept showing him up with Mjolnir. Yeah, Ragnarok was awesome. It was fun, it was comedic, and it was heartfelt. It was Thor taking the reins and becoming All-Father Thor. And then in his next one, it's... Well, I didn't want to. Just what they did to Gore the God Butcher. Christian Bale was wasted on that role. On what they let him do. He was the only reason why I even thought about going and watching it. Russell Crowe looked like a joke as Zeus. He literally looked like a parody of Zeus. Like, my God. I thought, it was some kind of joke. They go through all the trouble with the Asgardians, with Asgard, and making it very distinctly. Christian Bale was Gore the God Butcher, the guy in white. In the white makeup and everything, Christian Bale was the bad guy. Russell Crowe was Zeus. But what I'm trying to say is, it's like they go through all the trouble of making the Asgardians distinctly Norse, but their own Norse. But you look at what they did with the Greek pantheon, Zeus, it looks like a parody of Greek. Like, it's not even distinctly its own flavor. Like, you just didn't care at this point in costuming. I want good heroes. I don't care whether they're male or female. I want good heroes. You go back to the old Wonder Woman TV show. Like 70s TV show. I used to get, old TV shows because I was poor, so I got whatever was over the airwaves. She was allowed to be a hero. How could 70s, Hulk be better than 2020's Hulk? And that might be why I have such a problem with Ruffalo as Hulk, because he's not Hulk. He's not Banner. He's just bad. Like, there's no backbone to him. I don't believe he's always angry. There's no underlying feeling of menace. Like, I feel like I could beat this Hulk with a hose. And I don't mean by whipping him with it. I mean just spraying him down and just calming him down. Like, cool off, buddy. Like, he just doesn't feel like he wants to be, but it's a parody. It looks more like a toddler. Right. It just doesn't feel right. And I know Simply has really likes Mark Ruffalo as Hulk, and I just have to disagree. I think Ruffalo is the worst Hulk we've ever had. Eric Bana was better. In fact, of the modern Hulks, I think he was the best. But of the Hulks we've ever seen on screen, both TV and movies, Bill Bixby. Bill Bixby was the best Banner. Lou Ferrigno, Best Hulk. Hands down. Well, and I'm okay with him liking him. I don't think that changes my mind. Good night, EXO. No, Jared Leto would not be a good Hulk or Banner. No. I think you're doing that to troll, Green Jeans. I don't think you honestly even believe that. I think you're just doing that to make a joke because you know how I feel about Jared Leto. One, I'm not going to support a cult leader. Pure and simple. You know, and I think people have a misunderstanding that I won't take that stand. Even if I absolutely love the thing, I will boycott it out of feels because I don't like it. I don't like how they treat, like I haven't been to a McDonald's in a long time because I don't like how they treat their employees. Green Jeans, that is not Bruce Banner. What, have you been reading Immortal Hulk? That's not Bruce Banner and that's not Hulk. Like, that's not how Hulk is supposed to be. He's not supposed to be creepy, malnourished, snappy, and unwashed hair. That's not Bruce Banner. Bruce Banner is a brilliant scientist. But he's also an arrogant scientist. You know, he knows he's the smartest guy in the room. And it's another reason why I can't stand Mark Ruffalo. I mean, people forget that in the comics, yeah, but he's still Jared Leto, so I'm not going to support him. I want his career to die and I want him to fade to obscurity, go to his island with his cult and just, you know, have fun. But leave the rest of us alone. You know, I would say that about any cult leader. I would say that about a lot of people. You know, like, no. I literally avoid them on principle. I mean, just like, you know, Mark Hamill can't keep his mouth shut, so I boycott him. I used to like Will Wheaton, but he can't keep his mouth shut about, you know, how I should think about my politics. So, not going to support him. And I'm sad to say George Takei is going the same way. So it's like, okay, sorry. You know, same thing with James Gunn, though, by the way. I'm getting real frustrated with him. He can't keep his mouth shut. Nobody in Hollywood should tell me how I should think. What hasn't he done? He went after Trump. He went after anybody that disagreed that the... Okay, so all you have to do is Google Mark Hamill and Blue Sky. You really want to find out what Mark Hamill said? This is why you don't hear about it, because he does it on Blue Sky. But he has gone so toxic left that I can't stand him. Not that I pay attention to Blue Sky, but I remember, and it's just like I haven't bought any Stephen King stuff forever because Stephen King can't keep his mouth shut about how I should feel about Trump. Or I should feel about politicians and who I should vote for. Pardon my language, but fuck off. You don't live my life. You don't know what I need from my politician, from my life, from the people I need to support around me. Sometimes that leans a little left. Sometimes that leans a little right. I have nuance. Right. You know, movie stars are movie stars. They don't live in our world. They can't tell me what I should do because, my God, look at California. It's a fucking wreck. I know, I've lived there. That is probably one of the worst places I've ever lived that is the most beautiful. If you have money, it's a beautiful, great place to live. If you don't, fuck off. Where did I live in Cali? Mojave. I lived in the Mojave Desert. I lived in California City, but we used to go to Palmdale, Lancaster, and every once in a while into LA. I don't remember what was the big deal about going into LA, but there was occasionally we would go into LA. I've probably driven by I don't know how many movie stars' houses. I find it funny that occasionally I'll see like these pictures of movie star houses and I'm like, wait, I've seen that one before. I actually specifically drove by where Lethal Weapon 3, where he pulls down the house. Specifically drove by the place that inspired that one. The houses that are sticking out on the hill. Terrible place to build a house. I've also been to San Jose, San Francisco. You know, I've been up and down California. I haven't been over to Sacramento, never been there. But the popular places in California are shitholes. Unless you have a lot of money. I will just tell you that. San Diego's beautiful if you can afford to live there. And make sure that wherever you're living is close to where you're working, or else you're never going to get there. Oh, San Francisco is an absolute wreck. Yeah, I mean, some of my favorite shows were filmed in San Francisco too. I mean, Monk. It was pretty. Infinite, I am not joking about this. There is an app that you get when you live in San Francisco to see how bad the poop is on the street. You can avoid certain areas because the poop has gotten so thick. And I'm not talking dog. Oh, really? I did not know they made a movie for it. I'm not joking. Like, California has such suicidal empathy for the homeless that they won't even enforce their own laws on them. You know, I mean, like, sorry, I'm supposed to say unhoused, not homeless. Like, means the same freaking thing. That's what bothers me about these words. You know, it's like they're the same words. Like, I'm sorry, I've been homeless. I've lived on the streets. I don't find offense to that. Well, ask them, because I haven't been back. I just hear that there's a friggin' poop map. I actually have a friend that lives in San Jose. And San Jose is basically across the bay. From, or not across the bay. It's near San Francisco. It's one of the towns near there, and she doesn't go into San Francisco anymore. And San Jose isn't any better, but at least she knows where to go there. And I'm sure it's overstated in the news on how bad it really is. Like, I mean, come on, everybody's got an agenda. I know that. But it's just like, you know, I always wanted to go to New York. Not anymore. But to leave on a lighter note, I don't know if I even want to go to Boston. I don't even know if I ever want to go to a big city ever again. Like, Waco's pretty big. I'm happy here. I hated Seattle. Portland is garbage. Dallas looks okay, but I also haven't been very deep into it. But it's also a lot smaller than I expected because Seattle's a lot bigger than Dallas. Greenie, we won't get into how I feel about museums and what they do about history. The older I get, the more I realize museums are the narrative they're telling you. It's not true history. And you know who I learned that from? A PhD in history. Like, everything's propaganda. That's the problem. I mean, if you knew how many things the Smithsonian has covered up. Oh. The problem is that it wouldn't be that long, Infinite. Museums position history like they know every bit. And they position it in such a way that they cover any gaps. That's the problem. Like, they don't tell you how much gaps are in their knowledge. Do you know how carbon dating works? Did you know carbon dating is a best guess? Because they base it on, they'll grab a thing that they know what era it's from, and they'll carbon date it. And so it comes up with a certain number. But it is the only way that museums accept. It's the only way historians accept. You start talking about some of those other ways of dating something, it is considered fringe history. You know, I mean, Ancient Aliens taught me one thing. And it's not that aliens ever visited us. They never taught me that. What I can tell you is that Ancient Aliens told me that there's a different way to look at history. Do I think they're right? No. But it showed me that there are other questions to be asked. I like watching both. I like watching. I like making up my own mind. Like, I mean, every story we've ever heard about the Sphinx is complete bullshit, in my opinion. None of the stories make sense. Like if you look at how the Sphinx sits, well, wait, here's the first thing. Why does every other Sphinx in Egypt have wings, and yet the Sphinx by the pyramids does not? Oh, I didn't figure. You know, you start looking at the discrepancies. Also, every other Sphinx is sitting up, not laying down. They never associated those two animals. I think the whole stela between, you know, the Sphinx stela, or the dream stela, that's what it's called, was made up. I don't think it even ever really existed. I think they put it there. Where did what come from? The Sphinx? I'm just saying history. You know, we have this accepted thing of what the Sphinx idea. Well, look at it. Why do they even call it a Sphinx? You look at every other Sphinx in Egyptology and they have wings. No, they couldn't move that. It's literally grown out of the bedrock. That is literally carved out of bedrock. Which, don't even get me started on being able to do that with copper tools. Oh no, haven't you heard? They possibly found the other statue. But I still don't think it's a Sphinx. I think they're both Anubis. I think they're both jackals. Like, why else would the head be so tiny compared to the rest of the body? Why is every other depiction of a Sphinx sitting up with a lion's body? That's not a lion's body that the Sphinx has. That's a dog's body. Watch a cat. They have the hump at the back. Sphinx does not. It's a flat back. It's sitting like a dog, not a lion. And I saw that a long time ago. Oh, well, they couldn't carve it the way they wanted to. Did you see every other statue the Egyptians carved? Did you see everything else they did? Like, you look at everything else they did of that supposed era, the quality doesn't match. And we know it's been repaired several times. We know that it's been buried in sand several times. Like, none of it makes sense. It literally makes no sense. The Sphinx is not what we think it is. I don't know really what it is. It looks like a jackal body, like every other, like you look at a statue of a jackal that the Egyptians make. I think there was one in Tutankhamun's tomb, or Tutankhamun, whatever, however I'm supposed to say it. You look at it, and you compare it with the Sphinx, they look almost identical. Flat back, rounded down, upright head. Just put a man's head on it. Something funny with that, in my personal opinion. To be perfectly honest, it doesn't look like any of the other Sphinx that they call. But for some reason, they call it a Sphinx. Also, don't forget that almost all of the other Sphinx have female heads and a partial female body. But the Sphinx statue, the biggest one they ever made, is a male's face, male's body. It doesn't match any of the other ones. That's what baffles me. Like, none of it makes sense. But anyway, I'll leave you on that one, because I want you to make up your own mind about that, because that's my take on it. Something's definitely wrong with the Sphinx. Well, yeah, don't forget that ancient Egyptians, the latest ancient Egyptians had historians or people that studied ancient Egyptology. Like, that's the other thing is that most of what we know about Egypt has been interpreted twice. We learned about ancient Egypt from the ancient Egyptians, who was then translated by 1920s coke fiends, archaeologists. And remember that Egypt, the study of Egypt is its own study. It's Egyptology. They don't call it archaeology. It's Egyptology. So why do they give it a different name? Oh, because it's part of Egypt. Well, you don't call them a Greekologist. No, they're a historian. They're an archaeologist. When they're studying any other culture but Egypt. Why is Egypt different? Why does Egypt have its own Egyptology? I think it's so they can control the narrative, but what do I know? No, I think it's entirely because of... Well, yeah, there's pyramids all over the world. Pyramid is okay, unlike what Ancient Aliens wants to let you think. Pyramid is the easiest damn thing to build. You can accidentally build a pyramid when you're trying to build a building out of bricks, and something fails. What does it do? It collapses into a pyramid. Like, pyramids are easy. Why else do you think we find them everywhere? It's just one of the most common first things we built. The miraculous thing with the Giza pyramids of Giza, is the precision. And for some reason, the later pyramids weren't as good. So the first pyramids really were the best, and then after that, we forgot how to do it. But anyway, y'all have a good night. I hope to see you here tomorrow. I'll be drawn. I realize that it's late. Somebody already snoozed the ad, which, great, thank you. But I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you enjoyed this. Bye-bye.